Hey guys, welcome to Paperboy. Don't worry, it's a lot cooler in my apartment this week. Hey, I'm wearing long sleeves. And today we are talking about being dependent on hormones. So what we mean by being dependent on hormones is that if you're FTM and you have an oophorectomy, or if you're MTF and you have an orchiectomy, or if you're cis and you have either of these surgeries too, this isn't exclusive to trans people, then you're essentially dependent on hormones for the rest of your life. And in case you don't know what either of those surgeries are, trigger warning, I'm going to use some medical language for the organs. An oophorectomy is the removal of the ovaries, and an orchiectomy is the removal of the testes. So if you have either of these surgeries, you're basically removing the organ that produces the vast majority of hormones in your body, which means you then have to take a hormonal supplement for the rest of your life. Otherwise, you could face pretty severe medical consequences. Hormones kind of play a part in a little bit of everything, honestly. They play a crucial role in bone density, skin elasticity, general overall well-being. So if you are not getting the required amounts of hormones in your body, you are likely to feel kind of sick all the time, really exhausted all the time. You are more prone to osteoporosis. Your skin might kind of start to sag and get a little wrinkly. Generally when people hit menopause, for example, they will kind of be more prone to break bones and stuff. They're more brittle, and they kind of get wrinkly. Like, that's a huge part of the aging process is due to the lack of hormones being produced in the body. So basically, if you're not getting the required amounts of hormones in your body, then you're kind of exposed to those detrimental effects for a longer span of your lifetime, like if you're still kind of young, you know? So that's really detrimental to your body over the course of your lifetime. So you really don't want to mess with that. If you have an oophorectomy or an orchiectomy, you really kind of are required to then take estrogen and testosterone for the rest of your life. Otherwise, you're going to be kind of miserable. So personally, I have not yet had a hysterectomy. And by the way, hysterectomy and oophorectomy are two completely separate things. But oftentimes people will refer to a hysterectomy as kind of an umbrella term of a hysterectomy including the oophorectomy, because they can be done at the same time. So I have not had either yet. And the idea of being dependent on hormones for the rest of my life is kind of a scary prospect for me. Just mostly because here in Canada, I don't know about the rest of the world, but here in Canada, we actually face a lot of testosterone shortages. And I have faced this personally when I have to go and get my prescriptions refilled. There's a lot of shortages on testosterone, and we usually have to wait a long time. When I go to get my prescription filled, I usually have to wait because they have to order it from elsewhere. And there have been times where it's just been totally not accessible at all, and I've had to get like a different kind of testosterone and stuff like that. So that worries me a little bit that sometimes we face these shortages, because what if we have like a major shortage and I'm not able to get my hands on tea for a while? Like, it could be a long time before I'm able to get my hands on it. And I mean, it's one thing to go through bouts of dysphoria and feeling like changes aren't happening or changes are reverting, and that is terrible and terrifying to me. But even worse still would be dealing with that on top of being really sick and feeling like my body is deteriorating. Like, that's just two things that I really don't want to face, kind of jumbled all up together into like one giant nightmare. I'm sure other people have different causes for concern as well. Like, not everybody wants to be on T for their entire life, or some people are undecided as to whether they want to be on T for the rest of their life, or estrogen. I'm just using T as an example. But for me personally, I'm pretty confident that I want to be on T forever. So the only thing really that would be standing in my way is a shortage beyond my control. But for a lot of people, like, let's say, for example, a lot of non-binary people choose to be on T for a finite amount of time if they're not so keen on like a lot of changes all the time. If they kind of want changes in a moderate amount, a lot of people choose to be on T for a finite amount of time, which is fine. But then if they kind of want a hysterectomy as well and an oophorectomy, then that could be problematic because now they're kind of dependent on hormones forever, and then they can't have that desired effect that they wanted from a finite amount of T. So an option for them would be to have like a hysterectomy, but not a oophorectomy. So it all depends on what you want and what you're okay with, really. Personally, if I had the choice, I would just never get a hysterectomy or an oophorectomy. I honestly don't have any dysphoria caused by those organs being in there. I don't know that they're there. Well, I know that they're there, but like I don't feel them there. Like I don't see them, so it's fine. It doesn't bug me at all. I don't feel any less of a man because I have those organs. However, not everybody has a choice in the matter, whether it's because of dysphoria or medical concerns. A total hysterectomy is a necessity for a lot of people, myself included. It's not that I want a hysterectomy, but it's medically necessary for me because I have a lot of issues in that area. And I experience a lot of pain very frequently, and a very severe pain, and a lot of doctors have just told me, like, listen, you need that gone like yesterday. So I think I've pretty much said all that I have to say on the subject, but feel free to continue the conversation in the comments section and let me know if you have any questions. But just bear in mind that I am not a medical professional by any means, so take anything I say with a grain of salt. And if you're considering one of these surgeries for yourself, you should definitely talk to an actual doctor or surgeon before committing, and ask all the questions that come to mind. Even if you think you know the answer, ask them like everything, just to be sure. I have like a super long list of questions and things I want to discuss with my surgeon in a week and a half's time. It's gonna be great. She's definitely gonna love me like an hour and a half later. Anyway, have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.